Hey guys, it's Lisa and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be making wall pockets from these cabinet doors. Now I'm starting with a base coat of dark brown. I think I used the color chocolate and the apple barrel paint, but it really doesn't matter what color you start with as long as it's a dark color. Because what you want is something darker so that when you distress, you'll have some contrast. I'm just kind of laying my brush down, and I'm using one of these chippy brushes so that it kind of skips paint, and then you have to do little or no distressing on it. But you could definitely just paint it regular and just sand down to that, or if you don't want the distress look, then of course you can just paint it solid and not worry about the distressing at all. And I think the color that I'm using here on top is the Dixie Belle and the French Linen. Again, just use whatever color that you like. I just suggest that you go dark on the underneath coat and lighter on the top coat. Now for this other door, I decided on the Vintage Duck Egg blue from Dixie Belle also. I love this color, but you'll see later that I changed my mind in the middle of this project and wouldn't have had to paint this color on because where I was going with this didn't work out. And you know, as crafters, that happens to us often, and so we just take it in a different direction. And what happened with this one is that when I painted another color on top of this blue and I did my distressing, that blue and the brown came through it, and I actually liked the look. But this painting the blue on wasn't a necessary step because I changed my mind. Now once I let these dry, then the next step is we'll move back to this white one, and I've just got some old sheet music here that I've just kind of ripped the size of the inside of the door. Now I didn't go all the way down because I'm going to have a wall pocket over here, and so it really is pointless to cover the whole thing. But here I haven't decoupaged that paper down yet. I'm just kind of getting an idea of where everything is going to go. Now, I thought this music was appropriate for this pocket because the stencil that I've chosen to put on this pocket is Then Sings My Soul. And I thought that went really well with the music sheet. So this here is just the drop cloth, and as you know, you can rip that drop cloth the size that you want it, so it's just a lot quicker than cutting it. And then a lot of times I like that raw edge, and in this case I'm going to fold the top down, and you'll see that raw edge there. So I definitely wanted that ripped anyway. So I'm just taping my stencil down here and getting the placement right. Now you could put scripture on here or any kind of stencil that you want. You could put a stamp on it. Really just anything that you want to put on this to dress it up. And if you've never stenciled on fabric, it's so much easier than stenciling on a hard surface, because that fabric will just kind of accept that paint, and so you just don't get the bleed through that you get with some of the other hard surfaces. I love the way that black shows up on this drop cloth. Now here I'm just going to decoupage with some Mod Podge this book page down. And these vintage book pages like this are a little bit stiffer surface than I usually like to decoupage with, but you know, you just can't replicate this look of this old sheet music, so it's worth a little extra trouble to get this smooth. And you know, if you have a bubble here, there, it's not a big deal because it's not going to show up a whole lot once you put this wall pocket on here. You just want that the look is really what you're going for. And then we're going to be putting some floral in this pocket anyway, so a lot of it's going to be, you know, at least it's going to be camouflaged. And there I just put a couple of dots of glue on the edges just to keep that folded down. Now I personally don't like to put the bead of glue all the way across because I just don't like it to fit snug down, but I just glue those edges down just so it doesn't try to come up. And here I've just cut the fabric closer so that the back is a little more neat. And I always start by gluing my corners down, and I've noticed some of the other crafters do their corners last, but for me it's just something that I've always done, and it works for me to start with the corners. And then I'm just gluing a bead down all the way around. Now this cabinet door is not an old one, it's an unfinished cabinet door, and actually was at a wholesale place, and somehow I ended up buying a bunch of these for very little. But I like to work with old cabinet doors especially. And I think that turned out really cute with that scripture and the music together. And I couldn't really find a stamp that I wanted in these corners. I felt like it needed something, you know, on the top here. And so I'm just taking a stamp that has a part that will work and just inking up that little part. And, you know, what I get from the stamp pad off that little section, I just take my finger and wipe the ink off of it so that I can just get the stamp from that little section. And I do that on both sides. And I also found one to go in the middle. But I feel like that adds a lot to this. And like I said, if you have a stamp, it doesn't have to, the whole thing doesn't have to work. If you can just take partial, and you know, most people would take a little cloth and wipe off the excess, but I'm haphazard, so I just wiped it off with my fingers. And there it is completed, except we're going to stuff just a little bit of batting in there. You could use polyfill. Batting is what I had on hand. And I'm just stuffing a little in there so that you don't see my flower stems. You don't want that look of it, them kind of poking against that. It just gives it a smoother finish. So I add just that little bit of batting, and it helps keep that pocket more intact when I put that floral in there. At this point, you could put anything you want in. You don't have to do a flower arrangement at all. You know, you could just put some other type of decor in there. I really can't think offhand of what I would put in this if I didn't put floral in it, but I'm sure some of you who are much more creative than I am could think of something else. I guess you could make it a mail pocket if you wanted, but I just happen to like the floral in it, and I was kind of thinking spring. I've been thinking spring a lot lately, but I just felt like the floral was a good look for this. And since this is such a neutral pocket, you can just coordinate your florals with however you decorate, whatever colors you decorate with. And that's all that there was to that pocket. Now here I bought this kitchen towel at the thrift store. And my plan was to make a pillow from it. But the more I looked at it, the more I thought it might work well for this wall pocket. So I'm cutting just below this rooster here because I know that I want that rooster right in the middle of this pocket. So I'm just cutting right where I think that the rooster needs to be. Now I don't want this cut edge of of the towel showing there at the top, because I don't think that's a good look. I don't want to hem it under. I don't like that look either. So I'm just going to create that same top that I used on the drop cloth one, except that here I'm going to add just a strip of drop cloth and just kind of glue that raw edge there on the top of the towel, and then I'm just going to tuck the other underneath it and glue that down also. And then I guess it has kind of the look that a stocking would have, where that top just kind of folds over, and I felt like that was a lot better look, and then you don't notice that this is a towel. And then again, we're just going to turn it over and cut this towel where it will fit a lot better and have a neater look in the back. So the same procedure that we did on the other one, we're just going to cut this excess off and glue it down, starting with the corners, and just glue it all snug in the back. Now I haven't put any hangers on these, and the reason I didn't is I wasn't real sure what I planned to do with them. Sometimes I'll take a couple screws on each end of the top and then stretch me a wire across it and hang it that way. And sometimes I'll just nail one of those little picture hangers on the top, but I just wasn't quite sure, so I didn't want to put anything on it yet until I knew for sure what I wanted to use these for. Okay, you can see here, I wanted to do a sunflower stencil on the top. It didn't work out because that dip that goes down in there. So my sunflower didn't work out, and I was going to have to paint over it. So I thought, if I can't have a sunflower, I want my door to be yellow instead. So I used the maize yellow and just painted over that messed up stencil. And then when I sanded it down, to distress it, then I started seeing some of that blue come through, and I was happy with that look, because if you notice, there's a little bit of blue in the rooster's tail, so I was happy with that look. And then here again, I've just taken a stencil that wouldn't work, but part of it would, so I'm just stenciling on both corners of this door as well. And now this wall pocket is ready to put some floral in also. I don't know if I messed up by painting this yellow or if I should have left it that blue. I felt like the blue would look good also, but I just wanted to bring that yellow from all the sunflowers up, and felt like I needed to paint it yellow. Now dish towels are a really inexpensive way to make decor. You can make pillows out of them, and pictures, wall art, and things like this that you wouldn't normally think to use a dish towel for. So always keep your eyes open when you see decorative towels. So now I'm just going to start placing some floral in this pocket. And I'm trying to stick with greenery and yellow in this one, just because of the picture that's on the front. Now, if I had some pretty sunflowers, I definitely would have put some sunflowers in here, but I didn't have any on hand, so I just had to work with what I had. And these little, I guess they're black-eyed Susies, I'm not sure. But they had the right color and kind of the right look, so I decided to use these. And this wall pocket would be really good for spring or fall, because actually when I think of sunflowers, I do think of fall. And again, here, it doesn't have to be floral in there. It can be just anything that you choose, depending on if you're going to use it for decor for your door, or if you want to use it to hang in your kitchen, or just whatever you want. Now I could see this one with some maybe wooden spoons and maybe a rolling pin. So just get creative. I really appreciate all of you who are subscribing and sharing and commenting. It just makes my day to read some of the very sweet comments. And if you haven't subscribed, I would love it if you would consider it if you're enjoying this type of content. And if you have subscribed and maybe there's something else you would like to see, please don't hesitate to ask. If it's something that I can do at all, I would be happy to try it. Now, I think these two wall pockets came together pretty quickly and very little effort, I think. And whether you consider yourself creative or crafty at all, I think this is something that you could give a try and wouldn't be too intimidating. Hopefully you won't have to repaint yours like I did one of mine, but if you do, paint's just paint. It'll paint over. Although it was a little bit more tedious for me because I had already put that wall pocket on, but I just kind of taped it off and just made it work. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I hope that I've inspired you to do something like this of your own. Just let me know what you think in the comments and which one of these you preferred. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great evening. God bless you.